Pizza starts with a P and so does PlayStation. Now put both together and you get PP. Back in the day, Pizza Hut actually gave you free demo discs with your pizza, and that would have been the only way for me to ever go there again after I had it once. I have to say this, I hate brand pizza. There is not a single good big pizza chain, and you should feel bad if you live outside of America and order your pizza from there. With that out of the way, I also always thought as a kid it meant Pizza Head, because if you pronounce it Hut, it turns into the German word Hut, which stands for head. I mean, look at that logo, it's a pizza wearing a hat, you can't fault me for thinking this. In a way, us console plebs mostly only got demo discs, while whenever you bought a gaming magazine for PCs, they had full versions of games for you to enjoy and even really good games. They didn't just put shovelware on there, but actual classics most of the time, and demos, sometimes even anime or freeware games you never would have played otherwise. But what happens when a disgusting pizza chain offers you some sick demos? Did they pick some real bangers or a bunch of trash that you would never have been bothered to play anyways? Let's find out. Before you play, you can watch a commercial about the big New Yorker pizza where a teenage boy pretends that he lived in New York and his pizza reminds him of the life there while his friends call him crazy. I mean, I would also call a person crazy for actually wanting to live in New York. There's this fairly recent trend where streamers or YouTubers watch some old ads, and even I have done that, but outside of nostalgia reasons, it's still just watching ads. I don't understand how some people can do that over and over and not just once for the fun of it. Look at the selection of games though, god damn. Just seeing it makes you immediately wanna go back to Pizza Hut and thank them for gifting you this demo disc. Let's go through it in the actual order, so Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is the first game we can take a look at. You boot it up. You pick either Tony or Kareem, but obviously you pick Tony since his name is right there in the name of the game, and start, just to get greeted by this. Hearing the first notes of Superman is gonna be enough to make everyone feel young again if you played this game tons back then. In a way, it might be the best 2 minutes demo you will ever play, since it's just so addicting. Trying to get a high score after a high score and letting your bro play to see if he can beat yours. What makes it so great is that you can just restart it over and over, there's no limit to it. It's not one of those lame demos that only lets you play once and then throws you out again. That surely wouldn't happen on this disc though, right? I'm sure the other 20 sports game called Cool Borders 4 would not do such a thing. What else is there to say? It's a total classic that everyone should have played if you even have the tiniest amount of interest in skateboarding. Ape Escape is just one of those games that back then made me think, how did anyone think of this? It's Japanese through and through. Nowadays I often see that people think of this Japan is so quirky and crazy sentiment as somewhat racist and stupid, and I won't deny that American shows like X-Play have said some really dumb shit.
But certainly not Japan, because while they may be technologically advanced and financially powerful, they're already in decline. You want proof? Here's Baten Kaito's origins.
But when I was younger, I read the German GamePro magazine, and in there they often also had the sentiment, but in a wholesome way, where they praised Japanese games for being so weird and out there, and I always saw it as a compliment. Games like Katamari Damacy or Ape Escape got great ratings while they were like, hey, our friends over in Japan did it again. They created the most Japanese game possible yet again, without all of the mean-spirited comments. So I'm grateful they did it that way to kinda open your mind more to those games, instead of shows like X-Play who use the quirkiness as a way to punch down and make people look dumb who are into those games or even making the games. Going back to Ape Escape 1 after 2 and 3 can be a bit rough to get used to, because it isn't quite as smooth yet, but it's still a damn great game, because in my opinion games can't age badly if they were already great back then. A good game back then will always be a good game, otherwise it never was a good game to begin with. But that's a take for a different day to talk more about it in greater detail. Hearing that time station theme just hits different, even if you never played it before. The demo has 2 levels, and I think it's a bit mean how they show the silhouette of a 3rd level, but you're not allowed to play it. At least they let you play with the RC car, because they knew boys love that kind of shit. If your parents won't buy you a super cool Taiko RC car, then just play with it instead of a video game. You're beating 2 flies with 1 strike. Great demo that shows you what Ape Escape is all about, catching apes. Also, I had a crush on Sharu when I was younger. Wasn't my first ever waifu though, that was actually Maria from Beyblade. If you never played an Ape Escape game before, go change it. Or watch my video on Ape Escape 3 and then go play them. Your mind will be open to a world full of fun and even more fun. Please Sony, bring it back. They're bringing back the apes to fight snakes, so please let it mean something. Don't let this part of the video age badly. Come on Sony, we all want that, right? Yippee, Crash Team Racing. I wish I could talk about this game at the very end, because just look at my gameplay. I suck ass after not having played it for a solid, well, 20 years or more. Sadly, you have to see this disaster if you haven't already closed the video. I couldn't do the drift boost a single time, even though the demo tells you how to do it before you get to race on a single track. I love Crash Team Racing, but the demo is kinda underwhelming. Only one track and you can only play as Crash. Makes sense since he's the main guy, but still. If I didn't already knew how great the game is, I would most likely just think, yep, that's a kart racer with Crash. And I'm saying that as a certified Mario Kart 64 hater. Even back then I already knew how much better Crash Team Racing was, at least to me. Please don't put me to the gallows. I have never played Final Fantasy VIII before, and I don't even know anything about it really except for the scroll whatever memes and some guy talking about hot dogs in the game. And the demo made me actually want to find out more. What's this war about? Why are they fighting? Why does my team look so much different than the other soldiers? I mean, we can't be that special, right? That question actually got answered when I looked up a long play of the final game and was like, wait, who is Selfie? And we are actually wearing more generic clothes here instead of having the usual Final Fantasy main character drip already. And the combat system is also more complex looking, where you have to actually do hold combos with your buttons. While here in the demo it was as basic as a JRPG can be, pretty much. I love the design of the enemies, even though I have no idea what most of them were meant to be, like this guy. Or the big boy here, what is he supposed to be? And I also did not appreciate Cypher kicking the poor dog like that. I hope he meets a fitting end for him in the game. Please don't spoil me. This scene kinda blew my mind with how it actually combines an in-game cutscene with the real character models and then switches them around. Feels good to still be impressed by older games like this sometimes. Also, they give you only 15 minutes to escape instead of 30 like in the actual game. This machine actually kicked my ass though, so that's where it ended for me. Since they already give you Rinoa, here you can even summon Leviathan with his sick animation, and if that doesn't make you wanna get the game, then what will? Even though this dumb monster tanked him like no tomorrow and I had to sit there watch the animation play out like 4 times. Pretty meaty for a demo, but I mean, it's a JRPG after all. Those are harder to sell in a demo than a sports game or a little jumpin' one that allows you to go bing bing wahoo for a bit. Cool Borders 4 is just pretty boring. They throw you right into the game, not allowing you to pick a character or a different track. Just this one single race, and you may fail the race since you never played it before and want to try stuff out. But then the race ends and it throws you out. Why not just give me a restart button? Why do most of the other demos have it but not this one? I'm not gonna sit there and boot up the same demo over and over for a single race, so I didn't. Even though it would take me like 10 seconds on the emulator. Just go play snowboarding 1080 on the Nintendo 64 instead. So maybe these borders weren't that cool after all. Even though they are because there's snow, and snow is cold and cool. And so the demo disc comes to an end. You thought, there were 2 discs. Unbelievable, right? Get some stuffed crust pizza and even more free games and also an even higher chance to win $500,000. What more could you ask for? I actually never had a stuffed crust pizza in my life. Please let me know if I'm missing out or not. Also, here's the first pizza I've ever baked from scratch back in like 2018. Would you eat it? It wasn't supposed to be so big and fluffy, but I think I did a good job and it was pretty tasty. And no, the last picture here wasn't meant to be one of those pictures where a guy bakes or cooks something for their waifu and makes the pig look like they did it that way that she's happy about it. I know it really looks like that here, but trust me on that, I have never been that desperate. So far. Also this time I won't go into the order of the games, but just randomly. Gotta mix it up sometimes. It's time to get scammed. No, I don't have a sponsorship for some underpriced while also being overpriced product here. But look at what happens when you pick the Tomb Raider demo. Is it really a demo when it's just a trailer? It's a neat trailer because it has ass shots. You can see the game has vehicle sections which surely are well liked and totally not hated. And skeletons with swords. Now this is the true proof that the PlayStation 1 can produce mind-boggling effects. You can even headshot them. I'm sold. Time to buy the remastered version that recently came out. No, I'm still not sponsored, but I kinda missed that old gameplay design of these games. Every jump mattered, and you didn't just have to jump at a wall and could jump from perfectly fitting stone to the next perfectly fitting stone like in Uncharted and Co. Please don't send me to a retirement home yet, I'm not a boomer. Sled Storm, not to mix it up with Motor Storm. I wanted to say good things about this game, but after this happened, I can't anymore. He just drove over that bunny, and then made me hit it too. Then you might think, haha, I'm sure it survived, only for you to enter lap 2 and it still lays there. It doesn't even despawn the corpse, but hey, a life lesson for kids. I still remember watching the Animals of Phasing Wood. It took all of my restraints to not make the obvious joke here, but my pronunciation will probably make it sound like that anyways, and that show teaches you about how important our nature is, and how messed up life can be for these poor animals. The actual game is, well, okay I guess. What I like is that this track has multiple paths you can take and even crash through a wall made out of ice, extreme. But I didn't quite got the tricks because either they didn't do any tricks, or when they actually did a trick it didn't land because it's so long. I thought at first tricks didn't work because the lady has 0 points in that stat, but even when I picked the guy it was kinda hard to do them. For fans of snowmobiles, probably fun. Tetris in 3D, without any music. Tetris without music just does not feel right. It doesn't even have to be the iconic themes of it, but just hearing something would have been nice. What I actually hated about this version is that the color of the pieces is just all messed up. Sometimes they just have other different colored blocks inside of them which try to break your brain. I normally concentrate on the field instead of always looking at what my next piece is, because I can spy the color of it from the corner of my eye normally. But when they just switch the color of it, it just makes you think, what was that block again? My brain, I can't handle that. Make them single colored, please. To get music, you also have to get the full game I guess, and to see the new Tetris game pieces. I'm sure they were here to stay and weren't already gone by the time the next Tetris game came around. I would just recommend you to play Cardcaptor Sakura Tetris instead on the PS1. Sadly, it never released anywhere but Japan, just like any of the other Cardcaptor games. I keep teasing the video about those games and it will come soon, very soon, probably. I have to be honest, you won't really get me to play racing games unless they're called Burnout or some of the older Need for Speed games and other rare exceptions if it comes to real cars. All I know about cars is that I know they go vroom vroom. I don't really want to put my tiny feet onto the brakes and all that. I want to go at high speed and crash into people, that kind of racing, instead of having to actually think and use my brain about how much I have to brake to perfectly get around the corner. So my opinion on super duper normal racing games like this is extremely super duper useless. It's like going to Pizza Hut and expecting good pizza. Everyone knows how amazing Gran Turismo 1 and 2 were back in the day, and there was no way around them if you like cars and had a PlayStation 1. And then, Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. Why is Ripto so enraged? It allows you to pick between 2 levels, but before you get to choose, you get bombarded with the features of the full game. You can play hockey, go under the water, ride on a wooden board, and I think most people hated that, but as a Crash 3 lover, I have to say it. I love gimmicky minigames stuff in my jumpin' once every once in a while. I'm just that type of person. Raise the Hunter. You can swim and climb. You can do anything you want in this game. Well, it's Spyro 2. Glide through the levels and breathe fire to murder all of the funny looking creatures. Isn't that what Spyro is all about? And now with little minigames too. If you want to laugh at me, I forgot you actually have to put the turtles back into the water. So I just endlessly made them turn away and come back, and I was wondering how long does this go on for? Before I realized it's the same turtles and they're not just respawning. Since I held back on my own personal story so far, I will tell you the saddest story I have to offer. I loved playing the Spyro games over at a friend's house, but I never got the games for myself, since why do that when I can play them together at his place? Eventually time has passed and I got a GameCube. I still remember the day at Saturn, a big electronics store here in Germany. I was allowed to pick a game and I picked Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. Because it couldn't be bad, right? It's Spyro after all. And well, I don't have to say why that story is sad, do I? So with the end of that sad story, it's also time to end the video. Disc 1 was super duper strong, but sadly Disc 2 was a bit of a letdown. But who could complain about free stuff, even though it's not really free since you had to buy pizza to get it? Disgusting pizza even. Still worth it. If you want the $500,000. Don't eat at Pizza Hut, don't eat at Domino's, don't eat at any brand place when it comes to pizza, unless you may be American. Support your local pizza place, and while some of them may suck too, you will find at one place that makes you think, yep, that's a real pizza, while also being cheaper. So have a good day, a good night, or whatever fits your time zone. I will now maybe order a pizza or try to bake another pizza all by myself. Tell me if you want me to mail you a slice of it, but I think I wouldn't eat that anymore at that point. Not because it would be rotten, but maybe I poisoned it. I wouldn't do that, I think. Never trust anyone. Bye bye.